We often hear about how getting a degree can lead to better jobs and social mobility, but for many students, it's not that simple. They face the dual burden of balancing academics and worrying about where they'll sleep at night. This is an everyday reality for 1 in 32 Wildcats. They may be couch surfing, staring at eviction notice, or living in their vehicles. Despite these challenges, they're still determined to graduate from college. Chico State is helping them make that happen. In this episode of Wildcat Conversations, we talk with the campus leaders and alumni about the university's rapid rehousing program, which quickly moves students out of homelessness to help them stay on the path to their degree. Hi, welcome to Wildcat Conversations. Today I am joined by Emma and Joe from Basic Needs, Taylor from True North Housing Alliance, and Nicole from Chico Housing Action Team. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you.
I want to start off with dispelling some myths. What are some common misconceptions you all hear when you hear about the issue of student homelessness?
Well, some people are shocked that students are homeless. You know, I think that's kind of the starting point for so many people. A number of people are really surprised. They see us feed food insecure students. People don't realize that that's just a symptom, and that poverty amongst students is real, especially in this housing market. You know,
Right.
it is really tough. So really just creating that awareness that students are part of the unhoused population. And we've seen high numbers. The CSU original research in 2016 had between 10 and 20% of students really struggling with either low or very low housing security.
We know in the United States that there's a housing crisis, right? And it doesn't just affect one population or the other. But students are particularly hard hit in this population because they fall into vulnerable status, which means that oftentimes at 18 years old, when you're just entering adulthood, you don't have the pre-qualifications that it takes to get housing.
Right.
And as that housing market, the qualifications get higher, folks that don't qualify, you know, start to fall out of that threshold. And that means that they're encountering situations such as couch surfing, sleeping in their cars, or, you know, just getting creative to make sure that they're not sleeping on the street. And that's what we see oftentimes in our student population because they don't meet the minimum qualifications, right? They don't have a 650 credit score. They don't have 3 years of rental history, and they certainly don't make 3 to 6 times the rent. And unfortunately, research that was done in 2016 and indicated that not only were 51% of Chico State students struggling with food insecurity, but upwards of 14% of Chico State students were experiencing homelessness.
Wow.
And even further research done by the CSU Chancellor's Office indicated that a larger percentage was experiencing housing insecurity, which is similar to homelessness, but it just means that you're basically lacking a fixed, regular nighttime place to sleep. Not that you're what we call like traditional homelessness, which means like sleeping in the bush or sleeping in a tent or sleeping on the street.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, I think that's maybe why there's such a misunderstanding of the issue. Now, there's this really interesting and program that I recently learned about, rapid rehousing. Can you all explain what rapid rehousing is and how is that different from what's been traditionally done?
Rapid rehousing was first introduced to the California State University in 2019 as part of an appropriations through the state. And it was really the first time the state was looking at this problem and funding it. And rapid rehousing, the term is really a housing first approach where you take a student and you get them off the street or out of their vulnerability as soon as possible. You don't allow the bureaucracy or any major barriers to kind of get in the way. So what that means for us is that we can shelter a student in a 24-hour time period, sometimes less, but that's where we can actually do that rapid part of rapid rehousing, get them settled, and then look at the whole variety of challenges that they might have, because usually it's a mix of challenges, sometimes with wellness, of course food, making sure they have other things, and then also to reconnect them to the possibility of having a safe place to study so they can maintain their academic progress.
Yeah, I'll just build on what Joe is saying too. So rapid rehousing is really neat because he mentioned housing first. Housing first, the principles behind it and rapid rehousing were really a paradigm shift in how we provide these types of services. It changed it from you need to get A through Z met to qualify for housing. Rather, now it's we'll house you, and as quickly as we can house you, then you can work on all of those basic needs or those other needs that you have, but you have that stability in place while you work on those other needs. So it's been a game changer, and the outcomes from this type of programming are far more effective than any other type of programming. It's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine that, you'll have more success if you feel safe and you have a safe place to stay versus you're still trying to figure out where you're going to sleep that night while navigating the other things.
And the other thing is, it's so important to know that it's case manager centered, that really the heart of the program is to have that case manager sit down with the student and really work to have that conversation to figure what's going out and then to provide those wraparound services.
We take a student-centered approach, and we come alongside the student to make sure that they feel heard and supported and empowered to make the decisions that's right for them, because they are the experts in their own lives, and we want to make sure that we're listening to them and that they feel like they can have what they need to move forward.
Which leads me to my next question. Tell me about the origin of our program, our rapid rehousing program, how it got started, and maybe tell me a little bit about where it's at right now.
Well, I could start with, it almost didn't get started.
Thank you, COVID.
No, well, it was, the RFP came out of the Chancellor's office, and it was interesting. All three segments of higher education received funding, rapid rehousing funding. And so the University of California, the California State University, and then the community college districts, they all received funding. We all used it in a different way. And so in 2019, we were coming, of course, out of the campfire, and I was running basic needs basically with another staff person, but we were pretty lean, as you imagine the fire. I mean, so much trauma and so much action, community action to really come together. And this RFP hits, sometime in midsummer, and I look around and I said, this is a program that we've been doing organically. Chico State started housing unhoused students in 2016. We had no real funding then. We had just basic donations from people who donated to the Hungry Wildcat Food Pantry, and we had a Master of Science in Social Work student help us do the placements. But we started in 2016. We met Leslie and Bob from CHAT, Chico Housing Action Team, during that year, and that really helped us start the program. So when they're asking you for a partnership program, we had some partners in place. So we were coming from a position of strength compared to some of the other campuses. And what we did is we said, we're going to roll up our sleeves and figure this out. And so we sat down and we came up with a model. The RFP itself was pretty remarkable because it really wanted the California State University to reach out to experts in the community, because they were the experts in this, that we weren't going to reinvent the wheel. we were going to try to leverage existing competencies in the community. And we, Chico is a very fortunate community in the fact that we're small enough and the agencies communicate enough where we really could do this. We could really create these trustful partnerships to really move this ahead. So we applied for the funding, and at that point we received a $2.6 million grant over a 4-year period, and we're getting ready to go into our 5th year. And so we've took baby steps along the way, but through rapid rehousing, we've housed, we're getting close to 200 just in the rapid rehousing program now, and we housed about 100 before that. So of the institutes of higher education, and it's one of the good things that came out of the campfire and our community building since then, is that we have one of the most functioning rapid rehousing programs in the state. And that was kind of the evolution. And then we've been working directly with the Chancellor's office and our partners around the state to keep improving these systems and keep improving it. They've challenged us to make some improvements, and we have. And so, that's kind of the early beginnings of it and where we're at.
Okay. So partnerships were a key to the success of this program. Nicole, can you explain the role that Chat plays in this? And then Taylor will follow it with you.
Yeah, for sure. So Chat, like Joe was saying early on, they brainstormed. Chico Housing Action Team, we house individuals mostly in shared housing, honestly, formerly homeless individuals. And so the student model really shared the same vision of moving students in. They're able to rent a bedroom. We provide furniture and food, as well as case management, to be able to help them succeed and graduate. I think we have a 90% graduation rate from our housing, and we're at, I think we're over 16 students now, but I would have to check. And it's been a really successful program. And our case managers are typically masters in social work students, and so they're able to walk alongside. And we've also been able to support Butte College students as well in a similar model. And so that's really lovely that we can support all of our unhoused community partners.
Absolutely, yeah. So True North Housing Alliance, the organization that I run, our side of the program looks a little bit different. Oftentimes there are students who have very traumatic pasts or very difficult situations that have made it hard for them to live in shared living environments. And so we will often come in and work with landlords and property managers to get them safely and securely housed in their own individual units. And then, like Chat does, we also provide that ongoing case management support. So there's wraparound care. One of the really innovative things about this program that I really love is that partnership component. It really allows us to rely on each other's expertise and allows the staff to do what they're best at. So my case manager doesn't have to be the everything for this client, right? So she collaborates and coordinates with Emma and her team, and we focus on that housing stability side. And then Emma's team's really able to focus on ongoing needs and the academic side. And so with that, you've got true wraparound and holistic support there. So yeah, we've been doing that now since 2020. I think our fiscal year 2020 was the first year. And similar outcomes to Nicole's program, to really high success rate. And I think in 2023, we helped just over 80 students in the program. So yeah.
And I'll just throw a little statistic in there too. Gotta love those year-end reports. But they are good. They helpful because they show us what we're doing well and what we need to improve on. And what's so exciting is that for all of our programs, your program, our program, we have had, of all the students we've served, which you said of almost 200, I think at last count was 182, over 80% of those students have either graduated or are still actively enrolled. So that's huge success, right? That means that we're doing something right and we're continuing with success rates, retention, and graduation, which is the goal of these programs.
Yeah, I mean, higher education can be really transformational for someone, right?
Yeah.
And they can really open up the doors, but we need to get the students there.
We need to get them housed.
Yeah, we need to get them there. Exactly.
It's much
Focus.
easier to do homework when you've had sleep.
Right, right.
The basic needs research that's come out, both on the food and housing side, definitely supports what we anecdotally know. That is, students in safe study environments do better. That anytime we can house a student, they not only have a higher chance to academically pursue, but we've seen the actual GPAs do incrementally better. And so that's always, it supports the logic. You know, if they have a safe place that they feel like they can study and that they get some of their, the challenges of life that are really stressing them out, that are really distracting them. Because, I think one of the things I learned a long time ago when it says experiencing poverty is a full-time job. You know, trying to navigate, imagine trying to navigate SNAP benefits and Medi-Cal benefits and TANF benefits, and a student parent maybe with 2 children without parental support, trying to, WIC and what have you. So really trying to, get into the weeds and figure out what they're going to need. And it pays off, You heard the 80% retention rate, the 90% graduation rate. We're just really honored to have the opportunity to do it. And then when you see a program working over a period of years and then keep improving over a period of years, you feel, I was a rookie when I wrote the grant, and I was
Pro.
yeah, now I'm a professional. So, I think that's, we kind of use a lot of common sense. It's like, how do people trust and work with each other? How can we,
The partnership.
yeah, the partnerships,
Really
just building that trust, and making a system work. And then when we do have challenges, like you've mentioned, just really, let's bring everyone in and let's kind of talk this through.
See what we can do. Yeah. And one of the things, not everyone benefits from shared housing, but those that do, we've really helped create spaces in the houses where they support each other, with that good kind of peer pressure, like setting up spaces and encouraging each other when they feel like giving up or something seems hard, and supporting each other with challenges in being students. So we've really cultivated those relationships in some of the houses, which has been really beneficial.
It's been really beautiful. It takes a community, right? Yeah. And a lot of times students are coming from out of town and they don't know people. And so when they're able to get into the chat houses and they have like this instant connection with their roommates, they'll give each other rides, they'll form study groups, and it's just really a beautiful way of making those lifelong connections. We're not islands, we're social animals, right? We need to be together. And I think that's one thing that I really appreciate about the chat programs, is that it provides that automatic sense of community and togetherness.
So what can people do to help support basic needs rapid rehousing?
Well, I would say thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being aware that students are part of the population of those that are unhoused. Honestly, we say in this business, food is easy, housing is tough. And it's true. People give away food, people don't usually give away housing. Right. And so what we can do beyond just being aware, of course, the next step is to take action. Get involved. Get involved with us. Get involved with our 2 community partners. Come on our websites, check it out, learn about it, read about it. We have a good story to tell, and I think if people want to help us, there's plenty of ways to do so. I mean, and we can talk about that now, what the dream is, to really kind of invest in the future, where we're looking at the private housing stock in the student neighborhoods and helping the property owners improve those properties through programs, and try to build a stock of housing that can be affordable under some type of either subsidized or equity or some type of program. And so we really want to see the bigger thinkers come and join us. We really want to see people with real experience in reimagining neighborhoods, and just getting to the point where, well, let's face it, we are a residential campus.
Right. Yeah.
People come to Chico and to Chico State for an experience. They come with the expectation that these communities, the neighborhoods, the whole community can be supportive and can be there and be a safe, good place. And to keep attracting our students, we have to maintain not only the campus housing stock, we really need to look at how we use the private housing stock and how we can try to improve not only the first year experience if they're in the residential halls, but also the second and third and fourth year experiences.
Yeah, some of my favorite memories going to school here were riding my bike. I don't know if I would have gone to a college that I couldn't, access in that way. That was part of Chico's attraction for sure.
Well, Joe talked about his dream. That was one of my questions. It's what is the dream for Taylor, for True North, and for Chat? What do you?
Everyone has that.
How do we make it?
Housing is
We did it.
right.
Right? How do we make it?
Everyone's housed and we're out of a job.
Yeah, we want to be obsolete.
Oh
wait, wouldn't that be so great?
We would love to maintain these relationships with our partners. What we're doing is working, and it's important that we continue to be able to support students in a holistic way.
Yeah. And I think, your question about how people can get involved, our organizations are always looking for volunteers, donors, but more than that too, what Joe's talking about, the thought leaders, bringing people to the table from, doing things in a cross-sector way, bringing people from industries that might seem like they're irrelevant to what we're doing, but actually are really important to what we're doing. And so getting folks involved who are curious, but think they might not have the skills or something to contribute, but probably actually do, because this this issue is really multifaceted. There's so many informing factors, and the solutions need to be too. And so daydreaming about what we can do next, I think it will really involve bringing more stakeholders to the table.
I mean, that's the beauty, right, of coming together and problem solving together. Well, any last thoughts, anything that you want to share with our community?
I think, if we're talking about dreaming, the whole idea of creating a student housing trust, some type of way to build equity and to through a public-private partnership, perhaps, create a housing stock of truly affordable housing that we can subsidize. I think for too long, the word public housing has been negatively framed, and I think while the state supports student housing to a certain extent, we'd love to see increased state support in this area, but also a match from the people who benefit from our students that go out in the labor pool, and for the stakeholders of the community that maybe want to see our neighborhoods, maybe become a little bit more beautiful and a little bit more functional and a little bit safer. It's kind of a dream, but dreams take work, and dreams take, a starting point. And how do you create a stock of housing that's affordable? And we might have to look internationally for some of those I mean, we've seen cases around the world where they've dealt with this problem, and they've been very creative. So I think keeping everyone involved, definitely having our researchers and scholars participate in this and really make it a test bed of opportunity. And I mean, the sky's the limit here. I mean, you have California's most pressing challenge, and somehow you have to squeeze that into an opportunity. And if anyone can start it, these are
I believe it. I think you all have set an example to follow of a very highly successful program, not just in numbers and statistics, but I've spoken to students who have been part of this program.
I was going to say there's some good stories.
And and the impact that it's made in their lives. You know, Veronica, she's a mom and she has safe housing. You know, other students that are out either graduated or being able to fulfill their dream of earning that degree. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing. It's truly appreciated.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you all for joining us for this Wildcat conversation, and thank you everyone that's watching. We appreciate your time.
Go Wildcats!
Thanks for watching. Join us again soon for another Wildcat conversation. To keep up with future episodes, subscribe to our YouTube channel and Chico State Today. Go Wildcats!